When you first boot up Spec Ops: The Line, you're going to think it's your usual third-person cover-based shooter in the same vein as games like Uncharted, Gears of War, and many other shooters in the same genre. But trust me when I tell you, not only is it one hell of a ride ridden with intense firefights, insane weather effects, and crazy sound effects, but the story to this game itself is the true star here.
Is John Conrad the greatest man I ever served with? Well, I don't know. There was this one time in Kabul when he dragged my bleeding carcass half a mile to an evac chopper. So maybe I'm biased. But the facts don't lie. The man's a fucking hero.
You play the role as U.S. Army Captain Martin Walker. You and your elite Delta force are sent in to infiltrate the sand-covered city of Dubai after a dreadful sandstorm buried the once beautiful city. What you're in search of is MIA General John Conrad and his men after a failed attempt of evacuating the city after the disaster. That is just the basis of the beginning of the story, but the game isn't your usual hero that saves the day type stories. It's more about morale and decisions. It shows you the grittiness of war and the sheer truth of how ugly war can be on a person's soul. Going through this game, you will be forced to make decisions that crafts the story. But regardless of the choice, you never felt like you made the correct one, because there's always something on the line that makes the decision such a tough one. This isn't like Mass Effect where you make a choice and you're either a good guy or a bad guy. You will watch Martin and his squad go through an emotional roller coaster of pain, suffering, and pushing the boundaries of the human mind in extreme situations. I can say without a doubt this is one of the best stories I've experienced in gaming, and definitely at the end, the story will take you places you weren't expecting. I don't want to go much into the story because it's so amazing and compelling, but I can tell you, you should definitely take a ride for yourself.
The storm wall? No, those can't be the civvies that got kidnapped. It's not possible.
Yeah, it is. That's why Gould stormed this place. He didn't want the king.
He was trying to rescue his people. This is your fault, goddammit! Stop right there, Hugo. What it is, you wouldn't listen!
The gameplay to this game is very similar to your usual cover-based shooters. It's pretty much the same controls of Gears of War. Shooting feels very precise, smooth, and bullet damage is high. Especially if you get a headshot and have the game slow down for that split second so you can actually bask in the glory of the new headless enemy that you just created. The only difference that comes into this game is from a very limited and basic orders that you can actually give to your squad mates via right bumper. By holding the right bumper down, it actually brings up a red triangle that you can aim over an enemy to have him sniped, or at times when you're close to a group of enemies, you get the option randomly to do a stun command where your squad mate will throw out a flashbang at a group of enemies. Overall, the command feature is cool and really helps with harder difficulties, but the new feature of using the sand against the enemies is a new concept, but very gratifying when you shoot out glass and you see the sand come avalanching across enemies for instant death. Or there's other instances where you'll toss out a grenade and the explosion will kick up dirt in the environment to stun your enemy for a brief moment. The use of the environment really helps bring the story to life, rather than just be something in the background. The AI in this game is incredibly aggressive. They know how to flank and they will do it often. The harder difficulty you set it on, the more damage you take from gunfire and grenades. Also, the game progressively gets harder the further you get into it. But overall, I'll say the gameplay is fun, gratifying. It could use a little more tightening up on the cover, but overall, I had a blast playing through this game.
I mean, come on. You didn't actually think we'd just let you walk in here, did you?
Yeah, we did. We're looking for survivors.
Well, you found some. It's a bitch, ain't it?
There's no denying that Spec Ops: The Line is a beautiful game. Impressive lighting, amazing weather effects, and a large variety of locations to keep things looking interesting, while at the same time wanting to see what lies around the next corner. One minute you're fighting your way through a building that's just barely able to keep itself together, and the next you're walking through an area that met its demise from the hands of the sand. I'd say my favorite parts were when the sandstorms would come rolling in and you could barely see 5 feet in front of you. Over 15 chapters, you will see so many locations and different scenarios to help make the world feel more alive, yet also giving you more variety for combat and story. Spec Ops also took a page from the popular Batman games with how the characters and squad mates look over the course of the game. I definitely say it adds to the suffering and sheer barely making it through the game when you see that your characters look so beaten and battered by the end of the game.
What?
Once you're done with the story mode, the game comes with a pretty fun multiplayer. Graphically, it is a slight step down from the single player, but not a large one. They also add in the crazy sandstorms on some of the maps, and also areas that you can destruct to kill people with sand. You have your usual deathmatch, team deathmatch, and objective-based modes, bundled in with the typical perks, unlocks, and leveling system. But I'd have to say, while I heard a lot of people complaining about the multiplayer being just bland, I'm actually having a lot of fun with it. All 6 maps that come with the game have great variety, and the 4 versus 4 really fits perfectly for the size of the map. Although, I will say that it can get a little frustrating when you run into a team full of campers that absolutely love mining the whole battlefield. But, I will say, if you get frustrated with that situation, I would definitely check out the objective-based modes, Barried and Rally Point, because they are a lot of fun, and keep the game consistently moving. Spec Ops multiplayer can definitely be fun with friends if you're looking for something that resembles Gears of War with a higher bullet damage. I'd say definitely check it out because it's a lot of fun.
What's going on here?
Survival, Captain. Plain and simple.
December of 2009 is when they first announced Spec Ops The Line. I remember seeing gameplay of it in 2010 and thinking, wow, this looks pretty cool. I played the demo a week before it came out and thought, this is a solid shooter. But what I wasn't expecting after playing my way through to the end of this game was how compelling the story would be. Yes, the shooting and sand effects were a lot of fun, the graphics are just beautiful, but the incredibly dark story, the fleshed out world, and the line drawn in the sand forcing you to make those tough decisions is what made this game amazing for me. This game is definitely worth a purchase. I would definitely pay $60 for this game, even for the single player alone. But that's my review of Spec Ops The Line. This is King saying thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.
Let me go on record and say this shit just got weird.
Fuck weird. This is out of control.